Welcome to Open for Business, the Gallatin Valley's only local business and consumer talk show featuring Tom Egelhoff, the Man Entrepreneur Magazine radio called the leading authority in the United States for doing business in small town. Here he is, speaker, author, small business consultant, and Mrs. Egelhoff's favorite son, Tom Egelhoff.
All right, welcome everyone. Open for Business. We air every Saturday live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, 1340 KPRK in Livingston, Montana. If you'd like to be a part of the big broadcast, go to kmmsam.com and click Listen Live. The call-in number during the show, 406-522-TALK, 406-522-8255. I'm here, you're here. Let's get the show on the road. All right, welcome back, everyone. 49 degrees outside. It's Saturday, April 30th, 2016. It is 25 minutes before the top of the hour, and I want to welcome you to the podcast portion of Open for Business. Every week, I share some tips and tricks I've learned over the years about advertising, marketing, promotion, and building strong, successful businesses. And I do these Open for Business podcasts live every Saturday between 11:30 and noon Mountain Time from the studios of AM 1450 KMMS in Bozeman, 1340 KPRK in Livingston, and of course we stream worldwide on the web at kmmsam.com. If you missed any of the previous podcasts, you'll find them all on my YouTube channel or my website at smalltownmarketing.com. That's smalltownmarketing.com. Go about halfway down the homepage on the left side and you'll find a link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of the podcasts that you might have missed. So today's topic, I want to talk about how to choose the right advertising medium for your small business product or service. So next to payroll, advertising is by far the most difficult and most costly part of any business operation. So before I discuss how to choose the right media for your business, I have to tell you my 2 Ironclad rules you must know before designing any advertising plan. Now, here are the 2 rules. Rule number 1, advertising can never be an expense. It must always be an investment. There must be at least a 75% expectation that the advertising will reach and produce more in sales than it will cost to place. All advertising must pay for itself. So if you don't have that 75% expectation, then you should not place the advertising. Rule number 2, when emotion and logic come in conflict, emotion always wins. People make emotional buying decisions and then create a logical argument to support their decision. Now, if you don't believe that, if you really believe people buy things based solely on logic, then take me down to your local grocery store and show me the dead mouse and dead bird cat food. That would be logical. Instead, what I see on the shelves will be something like roast turkey and gravy sauce. Well, we have a lot of wild turkeys here in Montana, but I've never seen my cat lick their lips in anticipation when one walks by. Small birds, yes. Mice, you bet. But the marketing and advertising message isn't to the cats, it's to the humans making the purchase, and they will not buy dead mice, no matter how much their cat may like that idea. So let's explore the advertising forms that might be available to you. Now, there are many differences between advertising options in small towns as opposed to larger cities. Your small town may not have a newspaper, a TV station, or even radio. So your options to choose the media of advertising that will reach your target market may be limited in many respects. So it might have to come from outside sources. So in spite of these restrictions, here are some amazing facts. In America today, there are 6 major TV networks, 12,000 magazines, 15,000 newsletters, 2,000 newspapers, 6,000 radio stations, 7,000 cable systems, 5,000 prime websites, Fortune 500s and others, and millions more are added each day. So you also have 152 million daily, weekly, or monthly blogs. So if you aren't already, you will be receiving about 100 to 120 advertising emails each week. Your dinner will probably be interrupted at least twice a week by a telemarketer, and the average American will receive about 3 pieces of so-called junk mail every day of the year. So with all those advertising sources, the average person receives about 3,000 to 5,000 advertising messages every day. You wake up, you see the brand on the toothpaste or the coffee maker or whatever as you're going about your day. In the advertising world, that translates into about $3,500 in advertising dollars spent for every man, woman, and child. So as you can see, even though the various medias are not may not be available to you locally, your customers are still receiving these messages for all sorts of competing products and services. So all you have to do is make yours stand out from the rest. So what do your customers need to know before they buy? Here are some questions you need to ask yourself. What's your true message? What exactly do you want customers to know? And how is your advertising going to make them react? Is your advertising designed to promote your business name? Or is it designed to bring customers into your place of business for your products or services? Remember point 2 of my 2 rules of advertising I just mentioned. Is your message emotional or logical? Are you selling a car with 4 doors? That's a logical feature. Are you selling the convenience of getting grandma and the kids and dogs in and out of the car easier? That's an emotional benefit. Always remember, a feature is something a product has. That's logical. A benefit is what a product does and how that benefit makes you feel. Your advertising message should create an emotional feeling and a desire for that product or service. So next we need to determine who and where your target market is. If you're selling farm equipment, or your customers in town or on the farm? Well, right, they're on the farm or the ranch. So why waste advertising dollars that reach townspeople who aren't your target market? Even though that media may reach your target market, it's wasting money advertising to people who will never need your products or services. So let's explore this a little further. Let's talk about cost per thousand. Remember rule 1 that I mentioned earlier? Advertising must always be an investment, never an expense. Now, media salespeople are going to talk to you in terms of cost per thousand. Cost per thousand is the per person cost it takes for them to reach their audience with your message. Now, notice I said their audience. That may or may not be your target market. So how does my farm analogy fit in here? What you should be concerned about is cost per customer. How much does advertising cost to bring a paying customer into your place of business? Cost per thousand is immaterial if most of the audience is not your target market. So if you place a $100 ad and it produces 5 customers who spent $10 each, what happened? You're out $50. You invested $20 per customer but only received $50 for your $100 investment. That's not a very good return. Now, the cost per customer would probably make this advertising too costly for a satisfactory return on your advertising investment. But what if you spent the same $100 and it produced 400 customers who spent $10 each? Now your $100 investment yielded $4,000 in business. So would you run that ad again? Are you beginning to see why it's easy to waste money by advertising in the wrong place? It's easy to place a newspaper or a magazine ad, a TV or radio commercial, and cross your fingers in the hopes it reaches the right people. In most cases, if you haven't done your homework, it won't. So this isn't rocket science, but it does require some thought and study to work effectively. These methods will vary depending on the size of town and media that is available to you. It will also vary depending on the size of your target market within your selling area. In many cases, the size of your town will have a lot to do with the forms of media that you choose. For example, if we use the farm equipment analogy I mentioned before, we determined that we didn't want to advertise to the people of the town who aren't the customers. Now, you want to reach rural customers who farm or ranch for a living. So in that case, I would recommend direct mail. I can target rural mailing routes with flyers, postcards, mailers designed just for that specific market. So if the radio station has a morning farm or ranch report, then explore the cost of exploring that. On the converse, if I had a restaurant or retail store where both the local and rural community is my customer base, then I'm going to have to go with media that reaches the most people at the lowest cost per customer. With newspaper or radio, that's still going to be a percentage of their audience who are still not my customers, but the number is usually small enough that it still makes economic sense to advertise in those mediums. Most important part of media selections come down to the percentage of your target market in the total population of your town or your selling area. Any dollars you spend to reach non-customers is wasted money. So identify your target market and then use the most effective mediums available that reaches the majority of that target market. Remember, there's no media salesperson that knows your particular business as well as you do. So in order for your advertising to be successful, the most important part will be the message and whom the message is targeted to. So don't blame your media salesperson for poor response to your advertising if your message is off target. No one can help your advertising unless you have a clear understanding of the end result you want that advertising to accomplish. So applying my 2 rules will go a long way in helping you find the right advertising medium. that will reach the right people with the right message at the right time with the right offer. And that's the podcast. So if you missed any of my previous podcasts, you'll find them all on my YouTube channel or my website at smalltownmarketing.com. That's smalltownmarketing.com. Just go about halfway down the homepage on the left side, and you'll find a link to the podcast page so you can catch up on any of the podcasts that you might have missed. So tune in each Saturday, and let's build some successful businesses together.